Welcome to the Quantum Cafe and Interstellar Lounge with your host here, the Cosmic Messenger. So recently, I had the utmost amazing opportunity from Sacred Alchemy Astrology, an amazing astrologer here in Victoria, BC. Highly recommend to have my Galactic Astrology read. How cool is that? What is Galactic Astrology? So if you're familiar with astrology, you have your birth chart, right? You get a piece of paper, it's got your coordinates on it, it's got all the houses, boom, signs, planets, aspects, and all these wonderful elements going on in your chart. And the astrologer sits down and reads to you your birth chart configuration that you chose before birth, coming into planet Earth, right? It's how we incarnate and how we make those choices to have those parameters to be born, and then the things that were going to occur, and it gives us a map and a readout of where we've come from and where we're going to. So this happens, right? So you get your birth chart read. Now, there's galactic astrology. We've heard of relationship charts. Some people have heard of having a transit chart read. Oh my gosh, but galactic astrology? Now that's far out there. So this was awesome. So cool. I had an amazing experience. So in the galactic astrology, what you're primarily focusing on is what planets did you come from originally? What planets were you living on with your starseed heritage off planet Earth? Where were your missions? Where did you have some trip-ups? What galaxies were you in? So cool. And then also what beings are working with you now as a spirit guide, right? Or having an influence because you asked them to, and they're working together with each other to give the most of your starseed mission here on planet Earth. Where were you just before you came from planet Earth, right? So all this galactic information comes out. I think I have her name right, Alina Danan, and she has a wonderful book as well too, which I've ordered. That should be arriving shortly, and that goes through a whole bunch of primary starseed races, beings from other planets that we're generally working with at this time. So I get this reading read, and there was some new info that I had no idea what this was about. But the cool part is that so many of the energies that I was talking about throughout my life are working with me. They were in the chart. It was super cool. Things like Alpha Centauri, or the Arcturian High Council, the Galactic Federation of Light, the Pleiades, and different planetary systems within all of these constellations, right? The coolest one was Virgo. So in the constellation of Virgo, I have Spican heritage. And apparently there's only a couple thousand of these beings out there in this galaxy. So I'm a rare starseed indeed. But then Arcturian High Council, that was there in the chart. It blew my mind. It was super cosmic. They're off the charts interstellar. Highly recommend. So when we're going off with this video today, what I also wanted to bring up was, what's your chart like? What's inside of your elements? Where did you come from? Did you spend, 65 lifetimes on Earth and you're mainly embodied in this when incarnating? Or are you off planet and you're from Sirius? Did you have Lyra energies, where a lot of everything in this galaxy region started on Lyra, right? Super cool. And then there's big galactic war and things happened, right? It was very interesting stuff. So that's the cool feature. And we're primarily working with, at this time on Earth, the full realization, consciously, super consciously, that we are not alone in the universe. We never have been, and there is countless humanoids, insectoids, creatures, and sentient beings all over the solar system. We know, and some of them are clones, some of them are AI driven, some of them were made in a lab, but in somewhere along the way, there is all sorts of mutated intervention. We're not this engaged from it just because we're a biological human. All sorts of interventions have taken place. You may have walked down the street on planet Earth. You know, the veil of unknowing. And why is it unknowing to us when we're born, all this stuff? Because the society conditioning has driven us to come into this place. Everything about us when we're born, not the entire planet, but most of it, does not encourage any of this knowledge and wisdom to come straight forward and project out, right? Especially children who have, and infants who have they have the remembering. But then the media, the TV, everything else kicks in, right? And it's all just fantasy and hocus pocus. So you may have walked down the street and didn't even know that you passed a shapeshifter, that you passed an interdimensional space being, right? They are here. There's some inside of inner Earth. Earth also has different dimensional planes that you can then view it from and come access different timelines. We all originated at some point except for the natural biological strain that was on Earth, which does encompass quite a bit of us. I shouldn't say all of us. However, there's a large portion that are off-planetary. Starseed intermixed. Atlantis, Lemuria, there are ships coming in all the time. Boom. Hanging out, doing things, interbreeding, all sorts of mixing going on. We know that there's beings on the moon. I'm not here to really talk about today whether they're malevolent or benevolent beings and what their mission is, but there's beings on the moon, straight up. We got some on Mars, and there is definitely some going on in Jupiter, particularly on the moons. Venus, in a different dimensional viewpoint, the fourth density, it is protected, and there's also beings there as well too, right? And we all know of the planet, not Nibiru, Maldek, and that one blew up, and that made our asteroid belt. That one also had beings on there, and eventually then we appeared on Earth, right? Venus, Maldek, Mars, Earth, right? And there's lots of people who have come forward. At this point, I would say we're in the hundreds of thousands of encounters, beings, people talking about it, knowing about it. There's lots of people who have also been in secret agency programs or Project Montauk, and those things are not exactly pleasant on any possible level. However, many have encountered and walked right by interdimensional star beings. So it's going to come sooner than later, I know it. This age of Aquarius will be the revelation fully to permanently remember that we have a whole nother engagement. So we're dealing with countries and systems down here on the planet. Now imagine when you go up into the star realms. Well, now you've got zillions of more beings, countless more creatures, tons of adventures, and interplanetary Stargate traveling. How do you think that's going to work with currency and education and even our vocal language, right? There's going to be so much more that's going to come into play and do that sort of stuff and mix into it. So if you're having inside of you an inkling that I'm not from this planet, or that you have certain abilities that match up somewhere you may have been. You might have been on Pleiades, right? Alcyone, hanging out there for 500 incarnations, and then you came to Earth and you're like, I'm done with that now, but I've spent another 80 here, but I'm really feeling like there's some sort of root system that keeps pulling my way. Perhaps the guides that are working with you. We have them everywhere we go. And if they're working with you on a regular basis, right, they're putting out that energy. Familiar. Maybe I'm going to incarnate there in the next lifetime. Some of the family that you interact with, the friends that you have, the lovers that we bring into our lives, they are part of that same star karmic soul family. Bits and pieces of you doing all sorts of different actions. And when we have a problem, with what somebody else is doing and we feel that it's not an appropriate situation, yes, we want to work towards being our highest selves. We very well may have done that ourselves. Because we've incarnated so many times. Of course, there's fresh born souls that come into play and have that starseed heritage, right? And it all intermelds and intermixes. So go and investigate that when you have an internal knowing that there's something else out there. And astrology of the future is going to encompass galactic astrology. It's going to be all of them combined to become a full spectrum system. It's like this place has this chakra system and another one has the galactic chakras, and we got this over here in the fifth dimensional ones. It's all of them combined, right? And whatever level of dimensional reality you're at is the ones that you're working with. Everything's connected. Nothing is separated. I absolutely loved it. There was even like when I was in my teenage years, I remember there was like even music, and there was a certain line. It would be like Alpha Centauri came up in the song, and I was, whoa! And now it's coming back full spectrum. Procyon on Canis Major was another one in my chart. This stuff just absolutely blew my mind. So when I get the book, I can do a little bit more research, and we can go even deeper into what a lot of these councils mean, these beings mean, what it's like to be on those planets and different dimensional blueprints, right? And I always felt that I had some sort of mission, a little bit about myself. I always felt that I was completely cosmic my whole life, right? I got pulled as my youth to kind of go through the mainstream ringer, the vortex. Made it out alive, and here I am constantly I'm in love with sharing cosmic wisdom and multidimensional living. It's super fascinating to me. And the two main places that I have my heritage are deeply ingrained into those finer vibrations. So I want to come on and let you guys know a little bit about all of that starseed stuff. So just some things to ponder when you're going about your day-to-day life and you're engaging and you're walking about. There's so much more happening all around us. And yes, off-planet Earth activity, for then other beings being here, it's happening. And it's going to continue to happen. And it's only going to get larger and larger with every coming month forward. Thanks for the amazing star wisdom, crazy galactic chats that we have. It's mystical, beautiful, and amazing. Until next time, everyone, take care.